Like to welcome everybody to the Coaches of the Mouth podcast. Coach Jeff Williams, along with Coach Daryl Fimple and the Mouth Brent Bender. Guys, week one, what a lot of outstanding games, a lot of different upsets, a lot of different things going on, and we're going to recap that. But first I want to thank some of our sponsors, Lindsey and Associate, All American Steakhouse, Pigs Brand, for making this thing happen. But let's get into it, Daryl. Let's get into recap. I mean, what did you learn from week one? Well, we talked.
We're still cramping. We're still getting the cramps. We're still cramping up all over the place. Well, what opened my eyes was the Carlisle Junction City game.
Ooh.
Carlisle is extremely explosive. The freshman quarterback is a phenom, and they loved it. It's not your dad's Carlisle anymore. We're not pounding it inside. We're throwing it on the perimeter, and we're throwing it bombs away. And he's on target most of the night. And then Greenwood. How about Greenwood's average 64 points and hadn't played a full 4 quarters yet? I mean, we're subbing all over the place. I think 5 different people scored. The other thing is I wanted to be in the locker room of the Parkview game because whatever happened, happened. I mean, it was wow. You want to talk about a wow. I think Coach Bolden's going to do that a little earlier this week. Hopefully he does it at the halftime before the game and then after the game too. They had 6 different people score. They scored on special teams. They scored off defense. They scored, I don't even think they had a drive. The whole entire game was just big play after big play on both sides. Greenwood looked great. Fayetteville came back down 16-0 at Broken Arrow. Showed some moxie there, ran the ball really well. Christian Battles had 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. So they did some ways. And then Conway, wow. They wowed us. They wowed us with some speed, though. They are just really, really fast. They've got some perimeter guys, and quarterback plays good. Their defense held up against the run. Bentonville didn't have really an answer on the outside for them. So I was pretty impressed with Conway this week, too.
Well, you hit on Greenwood a little bit, Greenwood, and I kind of really zeroed in on their defense. And man, and not we're going to call, the Northside Grizzlies, a high-powered offense right now or anything like that. But the way they flow around. And the other thing is they got a kicker that can kick it in the end zone. They can spray it wherever he want to. They're solid in all 3 areas. Mouth, you were in Conway for the Bentonville-Conway game or game of the week, big school. What did you see in that one?
I saw pure physicality from the Wampus Cats. They just lined up and whooped Bentonville. That's all you can say. And Conway dominated every aspect of the game. Big speed difference. Big difference in speed. Conway had a young man ran a 90-yard punt return back for
99, I believe, 99 yards.
Kobe Wade.
I can't count that high, so I'm sorry, but it was a really dominating performance by the Wampus Cats.
It was, and I'm going to hit on a couple other teams, and let's go over to God's country. Valley View, we've said on here, and they've heard the Harding Academy and coming into their league and buddy, they've made a statement. They've scrimmaged Marion, and I know it was a scrimmage, but wasn't that one. Searcy goes over there 44-7, man. And Searcy's going to make a run in the 5A Central. Valley View is making a statement that we're going to be a player in this 5A. Very, very impressed with them. Then how about Newport? They get the Batesville Newport rival back. It was there for years. Newport goes over there. Not that, Batesville's having a great year so far, but just dominated. And they've got a great football team and everything. Well, let's get into this. Let's go ahead.
There's two other ones we got to look out for.
Yeah.
One, Springdale. I don't know what's going on.
Springdale. Yes.
Hey, you named the field after Gary Williams. We're coming back. See, this is the thing. Old coaches need their name on the stadium. Look at Nick Saban last night. They survived with their name on the stadium. Put their name on the field. Name a field after them. Guy. Yeah. Springdale. They're not turning the ball over. They do something that nobody else does. Pretty physical team, and coach did a great job over there bringing the little Red Dog pride back.
Well, they are. They're out rolling. Coach Hobbs and them do a great job. Well, let's get into this before we get into bring on our special guest and all that part of it. Let's just get into our player of the week or Lindsey Associated Player of the Week. Daryl, who we got, and give some stats.
Well, we talked about it earlier. We got Keandre from Newport, Arkansas. He's finally eligible, and he is showing why everybody was trying to keep him ineligible. The guy had 18 carries for 212 yards this week, 3 TDs on the ground, caught a 25-yard touchdown pass against Batesville. He is definitely deserving of it. There's a lot, too, by the way, this week. But he was deserving of the award even after week 1, too. Newport's got a good, solid team. We'll talk about their quarterback later on. But, yeah, Newport, Keandre Baker.
Yeah, Matthew, you're going to get to spend some time with them, and we'll be looking forward to that. Well, let's get into this. Let's go ahead and get into our picks here. And bring on a special guest, former head football coach of the Conway Wampus Cats, legendary defensive mind in the state of Arkansas, Coach Keith Fimple. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Welcome, guys. I tell you guys have run out of people, I guess, man. Trying to pull out old people to come on the show. It's an honor to be here, though. This is great to have.
Well, it is, and we're going to be checking your work. Had Coach Register on last week.
I saw that.
We
didn't yell at me or you, so I was really glad to hear
that. That's great. Well, let's talk about it. I mean, and Daryl hit a little bit on the Red Dogs a little bit. Your recap, you keep up with this stuff like we do. I mean, what's been you watched the first 2 weeks. What are you seeing?
Well, what happened, I got to see a lot of these teams at team camp during the summer, especially up here in the West. Got to go out and, how sometimes as an AD, you go out and get lost just to watch, the camps go on. So, pretty familiar with the West up here. Been real proud of Harbor and Springdale, the way they played. And the way they've been doing things, had good crowds for them. So, we're just trying to keep that same momentum going. Made some facility changes at both sides of town. So, it's kind of an environment where it's easy to come and play for.
Yeah, well, good deal. All right, well, let's get into it. And right out of shoot, I mean, we got a small school. These small school guys, man, they're not backing down from anybody. I mean, they have come out and they're playing each other. We got Bismarck at Glen Rose. Bismarck a week ago takes on a great Mansfield team and beats them. Glen Rose gets beat by a great John Fogelman Malvern team last week. Daryl, break this one down for us.
Well, Bismarck's making a believer out of everybody because, like you said, they're going and playing everybody. Took out Mineral Springs.
Oh,
yeah, took out Mineral Springs last week, 42-14. Ben Keithley, the Keithley boys, Coach Keithley's he did 2 good jobs. He's got 2 good kids because they're really good players too. It helps him out. That helps him out a ton. And then Glen Rose, you got Glen Rose goes to Malvern, gets beat by Malvern 34-28. Stepped out of classification there. But Glen Rose is known to be Glen Rose. And Glen Rose football at home is a little different too. Bismarck's going to go on the road. This is a statement game.
Yes,
I think
sir.
if Bismarck makes this and shows everybody there for real, Glen Rose will win their conference too. So I'm going to take Bismarck on the road at Glen Rose.
Taking them. Mouth, who you like in this one?
I got to go with Bismarck myself.
Hey, and you jumped on them early. I will say this: you're the only guy that took them early, and you won with them. You're going to stick with them. You must be superstitious or something.
Mouse got the inside track on Bismarck.
Something going on over there, man. All right, Keith, who you got in this one?
Well, I used to spend a lot of time on the road from Arkadelphia going through Bismarck to Hot Springs. I just want to make sure that was for good reasons. There's a big library up in Hot Springs, but Bismarck was, I tell you what, very impressive. Glen Rose is a very hard place to play at home. But I'm taking Bismarck. They've kind of made a believer out of me. I want to see how far this trail runs.
Well, I'm going to Bismarck too. I think they match up with each other a little bit up front. I'd give Glen Rose a little edge, but skill guys, I'm going with Bismarck all the way. All right, here we go. Oh, my gosh. Here we go. Back over to God's country, ladies and gentlemen. We got Salem Greyhounds. Man, they're not scared of anybody. Took the Redskins down week 0. Had a tough one last week with Prescott all the way at Hendrickson. By God, what we do, we just turn around and get the Newport Greyhounds who just dominated Batesville last week. Daryl, break this one down.
Well, Salem, like you said, is they're not afraid to play anybody. Caden Brinks, their running backs, leading them rushing, had the big score to beat the Pocahontas Redskins there with 30 seconds left on the clock. They're doing it a couple different ways. They're still really, really physical. Defensively is where they've got to make their will. But of course, they played really good last week against Prescott Curly Wolves. That's saying something. Like, once again, it was on a neutral field. They lost 31-22. Newport's playing at home, and right now, I don't know if there's a hotter team in that classification than Newport. I think they got a lot going for them right now. You got Baker coming off of a career night. Well, not a career night. I'm sure it's going to be just another week.
Just another night.
Yeah, Luke Reynolds, though, he was their quarterback. He threw for 137 yards, 2 touchdown passes. He also ran for 104. So you can't keep your eyes just on Baker, because Luke Reynolds is making plays there at home, too. I think Newport's got a little chip on their shoulder. I think people have overlooked them. I think some people picked them like 6th in the league.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know who the heck did that. A bad notification, because the Greyhounds
did get all the ballots in.
yeah, the ballots, man.
They're stuck somewhere in the mail up there somewhere.
I remember watching Greyhounds back in the day when they were really running through people. They had raincoats. Remember the raincoats? I was
fixing to tell that story.
The raincoats at Morrilton.
Ended the career of Keith Fimple at a neutral site back in the day. People don't even realize back in the day the playoffs were at neutral sites at Morrilton, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, I'm picking Newport just because of that right there.
I'm taking the Greyhounds, too. The Greyhounds to win.
The Fibbles are taking the Greyhounds. Mouth, who you got in this one?
Well, I got to go with the Newport Greyhounds with Keandre Baker, the touchdown maker.
There you go. Nice. I'm going to go with the Greyhounds also. All right, this next game, man, Charleston comes out, got high expectations, lose one last week. Coach Burns, can't get over the hump of Booneville, which a lot of people aren't getting over the hump of Booneville either. So, not just him. This one here, Charleston at Ozark, Daryl, break this one down.
Well, Charleston, coming off of 5, they got 5 returns on offense, 5 on defense, coming back. They're 0-2. But the schedule's been kind of different, because they lost a nail biter 14-13 to open the season, and they lose to Pottsville last week at 38-35, which is kind of impressive. It's kind of a mind-boggling thing. Carter Lee, their quarterback, threw for 440 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they lost.
Wow.
Good thing. Charleston, we got to play some defense every once in a while here. And maybe we need to tackle some people to the ground. He threw 3 touchdowns, the same guy. Ozark, bless their hearts, they ran into Booneville, and they were down to their 3rd-string quarterback. I'm pretty sure they were about to pull somebody out of the stands if somebody else got hurt. Got banged up in that game. Doc just keeps doing what Doc does at Booneville. That was the 100th meeting. That was the 100th time those dudes have played each other. All right. The bad thing is Ozarks come up on the wrong side of the stick most of the time. Doc found a way. They're just grinding on offense like we knew they would. But, man, their defense has been extremely tough. They allowed Ozark only got to run 16 plays in the second half.
Oh, my gosh.
Think about that. They only ran 16 plays, for goodness sakes.
Yeah,
we almost ran 16 plays. Yeah,
16 plays.
They ran 16 plays in the second half of the game. Yeah,
that's called keep away. There's a lot of people used to win with that back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that when your punter's an all-state player.
Back in the day, there's some teams you didn't want to play that if you were.
But Ozark beat Charleston last year. If Kobe Wilbanks plays, I think Ozark wins this one at home. So I'm going to say that let's put that guy in bubble wrap all week long, and let's go with the Ozark Hillbillies at home. That's my pick.
Mouth, who you got in this one? I don't know. I got a feeling you're kind of homer on this guy, but go ahead. Who you got in this one?
You know where I got to go for Ozark. I got to get Coach Burns. He'll get that physicality back, and they'll run more than 16 plays this week.
God, I hope so. Good Lord. Keith, who you got in this? 16 plays, man.
I'm going with the prettiest beard in football right now. Side job of Santa Claus. A great card player at Memorial Day. I'm going with Ozark.
Oh, the Ozark. All right. All right, boys, here we go, which this is going to be interesting. Over here in Washington County, got Prairie Grove at Farmington. and Keith, I think you got to see Farmington last week in 65-50
I did.
shootout.
Coach Tice they're doing a great job over there. The quarterback played extremely well. Had a lot of big plays in that game going back and forth. I think we finally finished at about 10 o'clock that night. Maybe later, it was just back and forth. But, these are two teams that they just take them out in that pasture about halfway. They'd save a lot of gas money on buses going back and forth to each other. To just kind of get it on, because they'll play each other in the parking lot, I'm sure. That's how that rivalry works. But was real impressed with Farmington. Of course, being around Coach Tice, he called a timeout right at the end of the first quarter. A lot of people question that. He wanted them to punt into the wind, and that's a lot of people forget about that. But that's a guy that's been around it for a while, that knows what's going on. So I'm going with Farmington.
Going Farmington. Daryl, break it down for us, buddy.
Prairie Grove's coming off a 59-13 win over Tahlequah, Sequoia over there in Oklahoma. We're coming back from the battlefield, Prairie Grove battlefield. Got all kinds of new facilities. Got a really good quarterback. It's actually the grandson of the coach. Yeah. The coach's kid, Alex Abshner. Like him a lot. Farmington's putting up points. Farmington's not stopping anybody from scoring, though, and that's going to be a problem. That's a problem, especially in a rival game. Now, Farmington is getting to play at home. Like Keith said, Aiden Lester, their quarterback's a really, really good football player. I think they're going to scheme some things up. I think they're going to get off the schneid. They're going to win at home. Farmington takes this.
Oh, well, okay. Daryl, Mouth, who you got in this one?
I gotta go with Farmington in this one.
Going Farmington. Well, guys, let me tell you something. Farmington's played Shiloh, played Harbor, 6A, 7A school, Prairie Grove. Man, it's kind of had their number a little bit here lately. I'm going to go with Prairie Grove in this one, just the fact that they just kind of had their number. And I think it's a crazy matchup. And so I'm going to go with Prairie Grove in this one. All right. The next one we got here is late add-on here, kind of just what it is. We got Malvern at Stuttgart. Daryl, break it down.
Malvern. Coach Fogelman returns home to Malvern. Malvern beat Jacksonville 42-20 to start the season, and then they beat Glen Rose last week 34-28. They're putting up 76 points in that, so they're average about 40 points a game, giving up about 24 on the year. So Malvern, they're known for the skills positions. I think their offensive line's pretty good. They travel to Stuttgart, who is on fire, by the way. The Ricebirds are on fire in Stuttgart. Kane Price, 3 for 4 touchdowns. All to Deontay Clark this past week. Coach's kid, by the way, under center there. So Coach Price is calling plays. Yeah. How you like that one? Yeah, check out of something. See what happens at home. Jawan Terry had a rushing touchdown for Stuttgart, and Chance Clark also had a rushing touchdown for Stuttgart last week. The Ricebirds are at home. They want to make a statement here against Malvern. Malvern's coming in, like I said. They've won 2 big games right here. This would be their first big test, especially on the road. So I'm going to take Stuttgart at home. Go Ricebirds.
Stuttgart. All right, Mouth, who you got?
It's getting cold, too. The Ducks are coming in. The Ducks are coming in. It's getting cold. The Ducks are coming in.
Mouth, who you got in this one?
Mouth is going to go with the Fighting Prices in Stuttgart.
Going with Stuttgart. Well, your old home place there. Keith, who you like in this one?
Well, I tell you what, used to be one of the prettiest grass fields in football with those farmers down at Stuttgart taking care of it. But do you realize they got a kid that gets coached 24 hours a day? I mean, we all know Coach Price. It's not like that guy goes home and just eats and watches TV and plays games. I guarantee he's being coached on videos the whole time. So I'm glad to see that. So I'm going with Stuttgart too.
Well, Stuttgart. I'm going to go with Stuttgart too. I just think they got too much firepower for Coach John Fogelman and his bunch. All right, next one, Lakeside at Robinson. I think it's a very interesting matchup. I mean, Lakeside, we jumped on, the Coach Kelly train, and they're going to be fine. But Lakeside, Coach Rockwall he schedules them and just beats them. It's unbelievable, and has done an outstanding job. Robinson's one of the most talented teams. Coach Scola does a great job over there. They got beat by PA week 0, bounced back this week, played Jonesboro, I believe, and won that football game. Daryl, break it down.
Well, they did. They beat Jonesboro 25-17, kind of did it in the Robinson way. It was like kind of all hands on deck there. They are playing at home against Lakeside. I think Lakeside's one of the most impressive teams to start the season. Kind of caught us off guard. We thought they were going to be more of a passing team. Well, they line up and they run behind the big young kid. And Grady Ullman's got 8 touchdowns in 2 games. They're running back that's back. It's a junior. Broke one last week against Sheridan. Went well over 100 yards. Coach Rockwell's got them guys believing. They won their first game, which was against Lake Hamilton, a big rival, 34-29, and then got Sheridan 56-27. They were spectacular on special teams.
Yes.
Yes, they took care of the ball on the onsides. They did a great job of dropping about 75 people in coverage when it was 4th and 17 because they knew they weren't going to punt. So he had a great plan going into that game. I think he has another great plan. I think this is their big statement game. If they can go on the road and win Robinson, I think they can, they can start cutting wood heading into the conference season. So I'm going to take Lakeside on the road.
Wow.
Yeah, come to the 501.
There we go.
Yeah, jumping on the wagon here.
Jumping on Coach Rockwell, which who we love. Mouth, who you got?
What a great football coach's name too, man. Rockwell.
Yeah. That's a great
He's
job.
a defensive guy.
Yeah, this was 7 points.
Of course, defense guy.
He's a defense guy. Got to be named Rockwell.
Yeah, Rockwell. You got Coach Reynolds over there too now.
Stone's always a good name throwing there like that.
Yeah,
That's Coach Stone.
Stone.
Defensive guy. You can't call plays with a name like that, man.
Yeah.
You just get that way. Yeah.
And you don't wear a visor. You wear a ball cap.
No.
Cap. Straight ball cap.
Straight. Maybe a cowboy hat. Maybe a hard hat. You can go hard hat.
Yeah, maybe.
Hard hat. I like it. We might
silver
even
construction
talk about
hats.
that.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, Mouth, who we got?
I'm going with Lakeside.
Going with Lakeside. You and Daryl jump on the Lakeside wagon right there. Huh?
Rockwell.
All right, Coach Keith, who you got?
I tell you what, what's so impressive about it, it's pretty much an anywhere, anytime mentality. I mean, this guy, whoever they calls, he'll play you. And he wants them to play big games. And I think, playing big games like that, performance-wise, hasn't bothered them at all. I'm going with Lakeside, too.
Going with Lakeside. Well, boys, I'm glad y'all are going with Lakeside. I'm going to go with Robinson. They've played PA and they've played Jonesboro. And Coach Scola, who has been there, and I got a lot of respect for Coach Rockwell, but I am going to go with Robinson on this one. All right, this next one, and I'm going to just put it out there. The Fighting Vaughns at Fairview against versus Pine Bluff. And every time I pick against Pine Bluff, they win. And if I pick Pine Bluff, they lose. So Daryl convinced me on which way to go. The Fighting Vaughns are we know, big fans of the show, and they're always got a good football team. Break this one down for us.
He does. Oh, they always have a good football team, but Pine Bluff's hard to figure out. They're the ones that, they're coming off 10 wins. They got a bunch of kids back. Defensive line, they had a big tackle move in there on the offensive line. They got skilled people, but, they got 35-6 and they went to Texas. So they're hard to figure out. They are playing at home against Fairview. And here's our guys, man. Lost to El Dorado on a heartbreaker, 35-34. Did some crazy out-of-loop stuff, though. Daryl Atkins, Junie, the quarterback, is still back. He had 10. He was 10 of 17 for 109 yards and 3 touchdown passes. He's a dual-threat guy. They also have a great tailback in Trent Haygood, who they moved out of the slot last year, like week 8, and the guy almost rushed for 1,000 yards. Doing the same thing with him this year. I don't know if we're as good up front as we were last year, but I also think we got something to prove. If we can shake off the 35-34 loss and go to Pine Bluff, get a big win, we can get back on course here. But I think Pine Bluff's at home. I think Pine Bluff's playing the state of Arkansas. Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
The Zebras. Make me a believer, please.
Georgia Stadium, baby. Beautiful place. Talk to me. Talk to me, Mouth, in this one.
Well, the Fighting Vaughns lost a heartbreaker in El Dorado last night. I think the last 2 games have been 1 to 3 points in the final score. I am going with the Fighting Vaughns.
Fighting Vaughns for the Mouth. Keith, who you like in this one?
Yeah, I think Pine Bluff, I mean, between us and everybody else out there, they've got a couple guys up at Missouri that have made a big difference there for a couple years. I read where they're turning the ball over, and the coach said he's, we're going back to the basics, just trying to hold on to it. But I like Fairview in this one.
Like Fairview. I'm going to go with the Zebras, man. Jordan Stadium. I think they're going to get back on track because every time I pick them, they lose, and every time I don't pick them, they win. So we're going to get on the right track this year. All right, next game is this. This is an interesting game. The game we added. Marion at Conway. Conway's coming off just an unbelievable game against Bentonville, a 7A West opponent. Marion just crushes, and I'm going to say crushes Harding Academy. Didn't see that coming. A statement game and big and physical. Got one of the best tackles in the state of Arkansas, one of the best tackles in the nation. Daryl, break this one down. I mean, Marion's got enough dudes to make some noise here.
Well, here's what Marion, Harding Academy's probably rethinking the classification too. But when Marion called, I mean, how was this game scheduled? You think that they knew what was coming here? Like, hey, let's go challenge ourselves here a little bit. Jalen Smith has been the story of them on the offensive side of the ball. He's already rushed for almost 300 yards on the season. He's been a holy terror over there. Their offensive line is really good. Defensive front, like you said, has got one of the best players in the country up front, anchoring their defensive line. So I look for them to make some noise in this game, but they're having to travel to Conway. And Conway showed last week that speed is not a problem. Grayson Wilson was 19 of 26 for 328 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 interception. He had big targets. The McCray kid had 3 catches for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know about the math on that, but that's almost 50 yards a whack. That guy was definitely a deep threat. The Blackman kid came up with 6 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown, and they ran the ball with multiple people. And they play fast, man. I mean, Coach Kelly's got them rolling on offense. Defensively, they're kind of a bend, don't break kind of defense. I would not try to punt the ball on the offensive end. The old the punch kick is not a good idea. The guy took it back 99 yards because we had 3 tackles trying to
picked it up.
Yeah,
that's one of those things coaching wise you're going, no. Oh, go.
Yes, exactly. Outrun the 3 skill guys, and you got a chance. Chance to score right there. So I think Conway's got too much for Marion. I think it's awesome of Marion going on the road to take on this challenge, but I'm going to take Conway at home because I think this year with Conway, you're going to have to score in the 50s. I don't see anybody slowing them down offensively. They are really, really good. He's really, really poised in the pocket, and they got a lot of weapons that are just now coming around.
Yeah, they had an outstanding performance, no doubt. Mouth, you were there, close to the program, got a lot of practice. Talk to us a little bit about this game.
All right, I'm going to tell you first off, my niece is a cheerleader at Harding Academy, and I talked to my sister Friday night. She said it was a whooping.
Yeah.
That Marion put on them. And she said we had no answers. We did not want to get big and physical. We could not get big and physical with them. I'm just going to tell you, Conway's too big and bad, and they're too physical to lose this one to Marion. I'm just telling you. Coach James has got his team. They're close to being where he wants them right now. I'm not telling y'all anything y'all don't already know.
I got you. Keith?
I'm for Conway.
Yeah, I got that's a bit of an inside track for me. And like Brent was saying, I mean, they're playing extremely well right now. Those kids have kind of grown in that system with Coach Kelly on offense and Coach Pakey on defense. They're big and strong. Just what I got to watch yesterday just on the film, I'm on with Conway.
Going with Conway. Well, I'm obviously go with Conway too, and they're going to be highly favored. Here we go. Let's get to our small school game of the week. We've been waiting on this one, buddy. I've been waiting on this one all summer long. Before we do that, we got Warren and Elkins are going to play at Arkansas Tech. That's our small game of the week. Before we get into all that, let's go ahead and bring on head coach from Elkins, Zach Watson. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. I've had Uncle Bo on here a little bit earlier in the year, and this is a game, man, when I heard about it, I mean, back in the springtime, this was getting hooked up, and I just can't wait, and I'm glad it's here. Talk to the folks a little bit about, we're seeing this especially from 4A, 3A, 2A. These guys going all the way across the state, playing each other, getting ready. How did this game come? I know you're probably struggling getting games, and Coach Bo down there, he's always struggling getting games and not scared to travel and play. Talk to us a little bit how this came about.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. We were both running into a little bit of problems finding people to play. And I talked to Bo. He's not coming all this way to come play me, and I'm not going all the way down there to play him. But, with my connections in the central part of the state and Coach Embry's his connections there, we thought Arkansas Tech would be a great place to meet. I played there. Coach Ship, I played with Coach Ship, so kind of an easy way, maybe an easy in there. And it luckily they took us on and got us going, and it's a great matchup. It's one of those that we want to play. I know they want to play to kind of see where we're at. Good litmus test, to kind of see where we're at and where we need to be by the end of the year.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. This is a big game. I mean, and obviously, we're talking about, in the grand scheme of things, does it count? Well, it counts on your records, non-conference, big picture, but such a big game where you get a chance to see those guys, might see them down the road. They
Right.
get a chance to see you in a big time atmosphere. Talk to me. You've only been there a couple of years there at Elkins and really got that program. Is this the next step, a statement type game for you guys, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the next step, but also I look back at last year, we fell short, and I don't think we were in quite those games, throughout the year, enough of them. I think we were in a couple, but not enough of them. And I believe we were a little bit wide-eyed to start that Harding Academy game. We dropped 3 balls in that game. 2 of them probably go for touchdowns. And so it's getting in these games right here and getting our guys in the environment that they're going to see late in the year that they need to be in early in the year, kind of to get rid of those jitters, to get rid of that, anxious energy. And that way they can calm down late in the year and play in these big time games.
There's no doubt about that. Well, obviously, Bo ain't afraid of anybody. The way his schedule is, he starts off with Greenbrier, and they lose to them by a touchdown. Lost his quarterback in a bad situation there, and then they go to Whitehall. Pretty much dominate. Punt returns really dominate special teams. Talk
Right.
to us a little bit. Where they were starting off week 1. Got a new quarterback, and we're going to talk about your situation too. He's got a new quarterback. What are you seeing on film? It looks like he's had to, change some things, but they're going to be well coached. What problems do they present for you guys?
I think it's speed. That's the big problem. We got to stay over the top of them and underneath them and make those windows tiny for that guy to throw it in. Obviously, usually when you face a backup, he's really good at short stuff and intermediate stuff. This kid can really throw the deep ball. I would say he's better at that than the other stuff. And so, and that's kind of crazy. And they've got guys out there that can run it down and go get it. So I think that's where it presents a problem. Also, he probably is a little bit more dynamic in the run game. I thought their starter, did a good job of, he would hit that, 4 to 6 range. But this guy, when he gets loose, he can break it and take it to the house. So a little bit different in the box for us. We got to be conscious of that and keep him corralled up a little bit. And then we got to tighten those windows up to make it harder for him to fit them in there.
No doubt. And let's talk about their defense. Very big up front. Got a lot of size. They do always play well defensively. Talk to us when you're the offense coordinator, you call the plays and all that good stuff. What are they going to, Dave, give away secrets here, but
right.
What do y'all have to do? Obviously take care of the ball and not blow a lot of assignments, but what's something you got, is it, we got to win first down? Do we got to win third down? I mean, you got to do all those things, but what's something specific that you think y'all got to do offensively to be successful?
Yeah, no doubt. I think we've got to win third down. We did a really good job in our Miami game, the first game of the year. And I think we were somewhere around 90%, third down efficiency. In our Dardanelle game, we fell off a little bit. but that's a little bit misleading because we converted a lot of fourth downs. We went for it a lot on fourth because we're on our end of the football field. And so, but I think we've got to win the money down. That's the money down. You want to get off the field if you're on defense. You want to stay on it if you're on offense. And I think if we do that, it limits them a little bit offensively. If we're keeping the ball and going on sustained drives, which I thought we did a good job of at Dardanelle, we're keeping it away from their playmakers. So I think that's key for us. Obviously, can't turn it over. We had a couple turnovers against Dardanelle, trying to fit some balls, and when we could have just took it our lumps and thrown it away and lived to play another down. So I think we've got to do a little bit better job of that as well.
Well, let's talk about your bunch. I mean, your big win last week against Dardanelle, dominated like 51-0 or something. And then, first game of the year, you lost your quarterback 3 days before the scrimmage. I mean, that's always a lot of fun. And but talk to me about your team. And I mean, you lost some guys last year, some big time players, but you've got a lot of good players. Talk to us a little bit about your team and where they've grown in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, I think our run game is really, took a big leap. First game, we threw it all over the yard. Ben, our starting quarterback, had 293 passing yards, but I didn't think we ran it real well. And I really challenged those guys this past week, that we got to get that going. And Jaquay Walden and that got those guys up front. And even our receivers did a great job blocking. He had 15 carries for 222 yards in the first half. So 4 touchdowns, and so they really got that going to make us a balanced offense. I thought that was one thing that we were great at last year. We were really balanced with Deshaun and Dizzy. Dizzy could throw it and spin it out there, and Deshaun carrying it. And I think that gave teams a lot of problems. They had to pick their kind of poison a little bit. And I think we're starting to get back to that, where if you want to shut down the passing game, and I think that was a big emphasis for Dardanelle, we can run it on you, and I think we've done a good job there. And we still got some dynamic guys and some guys stepping up. I think that's a good thing about here and some places I've previously been. It's the next guy up. Jaquay didn't get that many carries last year because Deshaun was toting the mail, and this year, boom, he gets his chance and he's making the most of it.
Well, good. That's a good deal. As a former coach and things like this, going in these big games, these big moments, is the kicking game. I mean, you got to really get that thing tightened up and trying to, find ways to get an advantage. Talk to us a little bit about your kicking game, how this could be a big influence in this football game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think I talked to our guys on Monday about winning the special teams battle. Obviously, they've got some great returners. I think our kickoff unit is the best unit. Maybe it's been for the last 2 years, the best unit of our. We've got guys that fly down there and want to strike you. And so I think that's a key matchup right there is their return game against our kickoff team. And then we've got to do some stuff in our return game. Luckily this year we got a great kicker in Dawson Malice. He's already hit a 39-yard and a 37-yard field goal for us. So a guy he's put it in the box, I think 6 or 7 times now. And we get to do that unit a lot with the points we're scoring. So he's a big asset. You know as well as I do, being an old coach, it's tough to start offensively on that 20-yard line. People don't understand how big of an advantage that is for a defense, and especially a defense like Warren's got, and a defense like we've got. Really good defenses. If you make them start down there, it's a long ways to go to sustain a drive. And so I think that, like you said, it's going to play a huge role in this one. We got to find a way. They've scored some, and we got to find a way to keep them from doing that. And we got to score one. We've had some big returns, but we got to punch it down in the end zone too.
Well, good deal. Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate you taking time with us. I can't wait to watch this, man. We've been talking about this. I mean, for about 6 months, man. And it might be a preview, it might not. But as a football guy, and I told Quad Sanders the same thing. They're playing Parkview this way. As a football guy, we appreciate you taking this game. I mean, but you and Bo both. I mean.
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, you got $5. This will be the best entertainment you'll ever see and everything. Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck to you. We're going to have you down the road. We're going to send you a gift card for $100 from All American Steakhouse for coming on with us.
Yeah.
I mean, if the worst comes worst, you're going to eat good,
That's right. That's right, man. I appreciate you.
Well, good deal. Good luck to you. We'll see you down the road, buddy.
Okay. Thanks, Coach Wiz.
Thank you. Well, you see, Zach likes his team. You feel, feels like they're making strides. Daryl, let's break this one down. You were there week 0. Uncle Bo's lost his quarterback, lost his backup quarterback, finds a way to beat Whitehall. Elkins has been on a roll here. Talk to us. It's a game everybody's been wanting to see. Could be a future state final game right here.
It could. And like we said, we on our preview before this was the game like, whoa, hey, they're going up to Elkins and playing them up there. So, of course, Bo knows what he's doing here. Cam Burks is finally settling in, I think, at quarterback. He had 191 yards through the air last week with 3 touchdowns. Tremont Miller was the big guy with 4 catches for 110 yards. Big in the punt return game. He's got both, the Jordan kid and Miller back here. I don't know which one you want to punt it to, but they kept changing the field on Whitehall the entire night. Hurt them big time that way. We ran the ball a little bit better too this week, but we traveled to Elkins.
Well, no. They're playing this one at Arkansas Tech.
Oh, that's right.
Arkansas Tech.
Yeah, but that's, you know why I think this is a home game for Elkins? It's where Zach went to school.
Oh, broke out the college alumni. There we go, buddy.
Yeah, he's a wonder boy. That guy's right up the road from Hector. That grew up. Yeah, he's a Hector guy. So I'm thinking that Elkins is going to be like a home game. They're going to have the home dressing room, I bet you, in this thing. Somehow they're going to lose the toss on that. But they beat Dardanelle last week 51-0, and they ran out of time where it would have been worse. Poor Dardanelle struggled. Jaquan Walden, listen to this stat. He had 5 carries. He scored 4 touchdowns. You get that? He had 222 yards. That means he averaged 44 yards a carry. It's not good if you're on the other side.
It's not good, man.
That's his 8th touchdown. He scored his 8th touchdown of the year in game 2. His longest run was 82 yards against Dardanelle. Their defense is what's really played a lot better than they did last year. Of course, they're not as good at the quarterback position yet, but I think that guy's going to come around. But if you got a guy that you hand off to do gets you 44 yards a whack, then your offensive line's playing really, really good. They have 3 interceptions last week. Kason Roten actually had a 52-yard pick six, playing defense on that side of the ball, and that was against the pass. They had 3 picks. Warren, we like to throw it around a little bit. So I think this is definitely the game of the week. Like I said, it's neutral field, wink, wink. All right. We're going up there playing in a college atmosphere. There's probably going to be more Power 4 kids on that field than any other time at Tech. Yeah, let's just be honest. There's going to be more talent on the field than they actually have at Tech. I love Tech. I'm from Tech. All right, go Wonder Boys. But this game is going to be exciting, going to be high-powered. You look for the scoreboard to be lit up on both sides. But I'm going to take Warren and the experience.
Warren, taking Uncle Bo. Daryl's taking Uncle Bo. Mouth, who you got in this one?
You don't even have to ask, do you?
No, I don't. You're going to take Uncle Bo, aren't you?
I'm going to take Uncle Bo. The demise of the Warren Lumberjacks that was spoke of going into last week, vastly overrated. Give him time. He'll find him a quarterback. We'll throw it and go. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
This went in a great game this week.
Word on the street that was they were working with a 7th grader. They were
I guarantee you, yeah, they're all out there together.
AAA rule something about they couldn't play him yet, but he's ready.
I
They got
you.
a guy in Little League over there that's thrown for 4,000 yards already in 10 games. He'll probably pull him out. So I can see it.
Well, Keith, who you got in this one? Break it down.
Well, we all agreed pretty close. But I think in these early games like this, Bo has always done a tremendous job. And then you talk about somebody that's not afraid. When I was the defense coordinator at Fayetteville, he played us with Warren
Well, he does
at
too.
the U of A. I mean, he is not afraid to do this. I think it helps his kids tremendously. But I'm taking Elkins in this one.
Oh, Falcons.
Man.
Yeah, I
You
was
said
not,
to be the man, you must beat the man. That's what he just said.
I'm taking Elkins in this one. And this is a guy that drives to Warren just to watch Bo play in the playoffs. So, I mean.
But you can't go your heart, all the time, guys. We've
Yeah, you got to go
it.
against it a little bit. I'm
Yeah,
the guy that, matter of fact, I even did the smoke one time as they come out of the tunnel. Nobody was there, so I just took over, did it myself. So so spent a lot of time in Warren, but I'm going with Elkins.
Go with Elkins. Guess what, guys? I'm going with Elkins too. I think, I like Uncle Bo's team. Uncle Bo's ready to go. I've got those injuries, and I think Zach Watson maybe playing a little bit better football at this point in time of the year. So I'm going to go with Elkins on this one. All right, here we go.
There's only three things you do in Warren: you farm, you log, or you play football.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Can I say something real quick about that?
Yeah.
This is a statement game for Elkins right here. I believe this is a Coach Watson's program defining game right here at Elkins.
Well, I do too. I think it's Bo schedules these games because wants to get better, and Elkins is scheduled. They've stepped out there. I think they're playing good football right now. All right,
I think Warren will be really good at the end of the year, just like Bo's team usually does. I think you just figuring things out here with these non-con games, and like I said, right now Elkins pretty impressive. Just watch them during the summer.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, here we go. It's going to be the game of the century right here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the big school game. I wish we had more of them. We've already talked about Coach Quad Sanders at Bryant. Appreciate him just playing this game. We got Bryant at Parkview at Warren Memorial Stadium Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, this may be two of the best teams in the state right now. Before we get into it, let's go ahead, bring our Lindsey Associated guests on. Head coach from Bryant, Coach Quad Sanders. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on, man. Golf to a great start. Opening up with Benton and taking care of business. Go last week on a long road trip. Bus breaks down and still win by over 21 points. Talk to us a little bit about your squad in the first two weeks.
Man, we showed a little maturity last week. Just correcting some things that we needed to correct from the first game. First game was as expected. You play a benefit game, but we know what it is. It's still not like the real deal when it's going out there fast paced. You expect it to compete like you do in front of that many people. Man, we had so many guys who hadn't been in that situation. But I think they rebounded pretty well, and I guess it just speaks volumes to what kind of kids we have.
And no doubt. And so let's get into it. I mean, obviously everybody knows you're the game of the week this week with, Little Rock Parkview and first of all, as a football guy, and I'm going to say this because nobody else will say it. We appreciate you taking this game because I'm just going to tell you, most 7-8 coaches aren't going to take this Little Rock Parkview game because they're lower classification. If Quad wins, and we know how well great Parkview is, but they're kind of supposed to win because you're 7A and that you got more kids in that part. And the football people in the world appreciate you taking this job. Taking this game. Well, talk to us a little bit about this. Talk to us about going in this game. Played them last year. Upset you guys, kind of broke y'all's long winning streak that you had. And they've kind of gone on one. They're very talented. You've got a very talented team. What are you seeing in Parkview? I know you're fixing getting preparation for them, but you kind of know what they got. What do you see on film about these guys?
Well, you're right. A lot of people wouldn't take the game based on just because it's 5A, 7A. But at the end of the day, man, I think if you look at it like that, then you're kind of limiting yourself. You got to you want to play the best team, especially out of conference, so you can get ready for your conference. And obviously these guys consider themselves one of the better teams, and the talent speaks for itself. So they're a 5A team on paper, but they got 5 Arkansas guys on the team and a little more. I don't think that gives them his depth. So, but the physicality kind of makes up for that because they can try to kind of control the clock a little bit. And I think that's where you got to get them. You can't let them control the flow of the game. You got to make them beat you doing something besides controlling the clock. If they can control the clock, they'll win the game. So somebody else has to establish the tempo. Whether it be just you moving the ball, and it's not even about scoring every time. They're gonna have a great defense. But you got to be able to make them play defense and then make them play offense. If they can score in one play on offense and then get you 3 and out, then they're doing exactly what they want to do, as with any good team. But I am definitely looking forward to it, man. It's going to be an exciting game. It was an exciting game last year. It came all the way down to special teams. And that's what happens when two good teams play each other.
And no doubt, we talked about this show because we've had a lot of, bigger classifications play smaller classifications. Both, those A's make a difference. And you talked about that is getting it in the fourth quarter. And, obviously you're going to have more depth than Little Rock Parkview and trying to wear that part down. Let's get a little bit of this is, you've been through it now as head coach 1 year and everybody always hears about, what'd you learn from last year and what, you learned so much in your first year as a head coach, but a lot of times it's not exactly what's the X's and O's of what's on the field. It's other things. Going through that experience, what you did last year and knowing the team that you've got built and ready to go this year, talk to me about the growth and your football team this year.
Our team this year played a lot. They played a lot last year because of we did have a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people knew that as well, but that kind of helped us going into this year because a lot of guys had a lot of experience. Not necessarily say they started, but they played a lot of minutes. So now they're learning what it's like to be a starter. But the minutes itself, it doesn't bother them at all. As for me, man, I'm still learning. I'm still learning, but it's different being a coordinator going to the head coach. You just you got to learn a lot more than X's and O's. Really, it's about the game management, and I think that's a part that I suffer from a little bit. You take for granted just being able to call the play, and not worrying about the other stuff. And then I figured out last year, man, a head coach does a lot other than just call plays, and you kind of see why some guys just step back and let their coordinators do it, and they worry about the other things. And I think I've learned how to do both. But I'm not. So I still don't call plays, but at least now I can still help both ways and just on what I see, but understanding clock management.
Well, and you're an outstanding coach, did a great job. And it's just funny that people don't, it's not X's and O's a lot of times going into head coach. It's dealing with that injury, when you're a defense coordinator, if the center got hurt, you probably wasn't really worried about it, at that point in time. You know how that goes. But well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time. Hey, we'll be sending you a T-shirt and a gift card to All American Steakhouse, $100 gift card, and you get up Northwest Arkansas, get a free meal on those guys. We appreciate you coming on. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, brother.
See you, Quad. Well, we get to see Quad right there. He is not. He's excited about playing this game. We appreciate him, going out on a limb. And I'm going to start with you, Keith, with this. And you're a 7A head coach, and you get these teams like, a lot of teams like Parkview that want to play. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit. And Quad hit a little bit. 7A coaches ain't looking to go play a bunch of 5A powerhouses. And talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, these guys are very familiar. Team camps, whether they're at Bryant or War Memorial or at Conway. Many a times I walked out there, Buck does the same thing. There'll be Bryant, Parkview, Christian, Morrilton's out there, Clinton. There's all kinds of teams. North Little Rock was in those camps, and you're going, but they're very familiar. The kids know each other. I'm just, like you said, I'm really impressed with him, taking on this game. And again, with Coach Bowling, that's what he wants to do. You want to play games like this. When we grew up and we were in the first in coaching, Coach Rescher used to send us to Central. And we would go down to Tyler, Texas, and we'd be going, oh, my gosh, we had a quarterback at Tyler, Texas, remember, threw for 300-something yards against us, and Coach Rescher's chewing our butts out all the way home. That guy's Matt Flynn. He backed up Brady at the New England Patriots, played at LSU, and I'm going, what?
On a national championship.
Yeah, but that's what you want. You got to get your kids ready for big crowds and big games, and during this time right here, it's going to be awesome. I told a guy the other day, this is a great game, and if Parkview wanted to play Greenwood, I'd pay $100 for a ticket just to see.
Oh.
I would love for us to do something where we went to college football and said, hey, let's pick 5 or 6 teams and just let them get at it. after they make their state championship run, just to kind of like an overall in basketball, because it'd be fun to watch those guys play each other.
No doubt. Daryl, getting this, breaking this down, and we're seeing this more with our 2 and 3A. I mean, they're going traveling across the state. I mean, they're going to see each other in the playoffs, but I mean, we're seeing it more at the lower level. Talk to us a little bit about that situation and break the game down for us.
Well, I think a lot of people are, it's just who will play you. I mean, you know, when you got a team, here's the good thing though, is it when you're a good team, you know, it's how long you can be a good team. You know, because then that keeps the games going that way. You know, some people can play anybody any time of the year. Sometimes, you know, you have that bad year. It's not so good. But you want to talk about buying a ticket to Greenwood Parkview, that would be phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you could have a place. I mean, it would trump the Salt Bowl. Because both of those, I mean, those guys are fanatics about the football game. But anyway, Bryant and Parkview, this is going to be interesting. War Memorial Stadium, you know, last year was a classic game. You know, like Parkview kind of came out, jumped on them. Second half was a different story. Bryant played right with them. You know, I think Bryant's figured out we can't turn the football over. They won last week over at Christian Bros up there in St. Louis, 42-21. Jordan Walker, the quarterback, and that Ratcliffe kid. I mean, I'm telling you, that guy, that's the connection. You know, there was one a couple years ago that I'm sure Conway's coach could talk about that kind of resembles them guys right now. They're on the same page. But I think Bryant's really good defensively, especially. I think their secondary's coming around. It's young. It's just the big plays of Parkview. You know, I don't know if Parkview's really shown yet that they could sustain a long drive. They hit home runs, man. I mean, they hit home runs and home runs fast. If you turn it over, if you get loose in the kicking game, you get out of an alley, it's over. I mean, there is no catch-up speed that's going to catch anybody. And once again, they're playing those guys both ways. You know, we seen it last week. Jace White played a little bit of safety, had a big interception against Maumelle. Like we said, we made some adjustments at halftime. I don't know if the adjustments were just getting chewed out. But they had 6 different people score, and they outscored Maumelle 42-0, actually 42-6 in the second half of that game. And they scored with a punt return, an interception, a kickoff return. After Maumelle scores, hey, like this, 92-yard kickoff return by Penny. I mean, just straight out the boat. They did not run that many offensive plays and still scored 42 points in the second half. I think they're really, really good. Their linebacker, I mean, that guy, I mean, his NIL deal's got to be outrageous because that dude is a player. Number 11, I mean, he is a stud. I mean, he goes sideline to sideline, and when he gets there, he is not happy. He's not a happy guy. So look for him to kind of keep his eye on Anderson, the running back at Bryant that's going to Notre Dame. I think that this game, like I said, last year it was kind of a tale of two halves. I think if Bryant can control it, stay – you know, they played War Memorial before. You know, they played in the Salt Bowl. This is going to be just as big a game there. And I think this is kind of a statement game for them, too. But, like I said, I like home run hitters. All right, Parkview's got a bunch of them. So I'm going to take Parkview in this one.
Taking Parkview. Mouth, who you like?
Well, it's going to be a great game. I'm just going to tell you. I think it'll be interesting to see how Parkview reacts because Bryant's going to punch you right straight in the mouth. Coming off a great game last week against Christian Brothers in Missouri, great game. Coming off the game last year, I like Bryant in this one.
Like Bryant, the mouth's taking Bryant, which I could see that. Keith, you're familiar with Bryant, obviously. You've been there at Conway for 100 forever. And you're familiar with Parkview, too, because you've team camped and did a lot of things when you were coaching. Talk to me. I mean, this and here, boy, go either way.
This one here is intriguing because the factors that you cliche as being a head coach are going to come into play. Especially early in non-con, you're going to have to be really good on special teams. You're going to have to be able to turn the field over. Like Daryl said, you're going to have some explosive plays, you know, on special teams. I think the biggest thing is, like I said, you know, you got to control the ball a lot of times. And, boy, it's going to be tough with these two hitting each other. But I'm going to give the edge to Parkview. I really like them on both sides of the ball. I like them offensive and defensively. Now, again, I went back and forth with this one for hours because Bryant, going over to St. Louis Christian Brothers, who won it last year, and Don pretty much just said, "Hey, we're here just to beat you and get back on the bus. It's broken and come back home." And that's what they did. So I'm going with Parkview. And bit of an upset, but I mean, there's no home field advantage with this thing because they both play at the same place. I mean, 2 weeks ago, Bryant's playing there, but it is one of those games that you define by just the cliche. Hey, turnovers are going to be big in this one.
It is, and let's in depth, guys. And
Field position, depth, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Parkview has some guys that go both ways, but they can do it.
They had zero cramps. Last week.
But they can do that because they have great depth as a 5A school. They really do. And they don't go down much. Like you said, the receiver went over and played safety. I mean, he's as good-looking receiver as you'll find. And they're able to move him over there and play a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see this one.
It is. I'm going to go with Parkview. But I tell you what, I think you're looking at a 3 or 4 point game late. Look at, where Brian's at. Kicking game comes into a factor here. Turnovers. I agree with Keith. The old cliches, turnovers and explosive plays and and I think everybody's looking offensively. I think this game's going to be won defensively.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about it. Both defenses are going to have to really prepare themselves because of all the skill on both sides. I mean, quarterback from Bryant, he is as good. I mean, he is a good-looking kid. I mean, and he could probably play linebacker in a heartbeat. But they got skilled guys all around him.
The receiver.
Yes.
Nobody stopped him yet. Nobody stopped this guy.
And he just finds his way no matter how people guard him. He finds his way open. They're big up front. So, again, we can always put it on Bobby. Bobby's got to stop him, huh?
Yeah, that's what Brad says all the time. I don't know what the problem is.
Brad's got the running backs.
He's running backs.
Yeah, he's just coached running backs.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to go with Parkview. Daryl, let's do this because we did get it on earlier in the show. Let's go hit that top 5. Let's hit that small school top 5.
Actually, we got 6 in the small.
Six.
Small school top 6 this week. We got creeping in there for their first appearance, baby. They used to wear rain jackets, man. That's all I can tell you about. Newport Greyhounds. I think they're back. They're in our 6th spot. Keep giving the ball to Baker. Luke Reynolds is doing a great job at quarterback. Defensively, we're just swarming to the ball. We got a big win over Batesville last week to claim 6. We got number 5, Elkins. Got some movement this week, though. You got 5 versus somebody you're going to see here a little bit later. Jaquan Wallen is the real deal. Jaquan's got 8 touchdowns on the ground for Elkins. Number 4, these guys made me a believer. Did I freeze up?
No, you're good, Bo. No.
All right, I did freeze up then. All right, we got Carlisle Bisons. Bisons are back, baby. Let me tell you, they got a quarterback. This is not your Carlisle of old. I mean, this guy is spinning it. Ty Tankelsley is the quarterback. He's got all kinds of weapons. And the Parnell kid, Davis, Klingman, got a 6'4", I think Parnell's 6'4", 205 pounds. Can you imagine that? And then he was outrunning everybody in Junction City, and they were lighting some firecrackers over there at Carlisle. Let me tell you, they were shooting fireworks before the game even started. Like they knew what was coming. It was amazing. Then we got number 3, Boonville, because Doc just finds a way. He finds a way. He works his magic. Like I said, they gave up 15 yards and 16 plays in the second half, knocking quarterbacks out. They leaned on their running back Lentz for over 100 yards. Number 2, Prescott Curlywoods. Yeah, we dropped. We dropped down because Salem kind of grinded it out on us. So Prescott wins 31-22. But like I said, we're finding ways to win there. Our number 1 team. All right, that's what's big this week. I'm still sticking with the Lumberjacks. All right, Lumberjacks Lumberjacks are still my number one team. Beat Whitehall 46-14. Did it with the punt return is what our punt return team is going to keep us number one. We got a big game on a neutral field at Arkansas Tech this week against Elkins, which will surely shake up our small five. Big School five. Our Big School five, number 5 is going to be Bryant. They could make a huge jump this week, too.
Yes, sir.
That week 3 is going to be jumping and popping around there. Bryant, Jordan Walker, Ratliff connection on offense. Defensively, they got multiple people. They're going to be put to the test this week against Parkview and their explosiveness. Number 4, the Conway Wampus Cats, moving on up.
I mean, what do they got to do, man?
Grayson Wilson. Hey, it's all about scheduling too, man. You got to schedule some folks. Grayson Wilson, 19-26, 328 yards. They had 550 yards of total offense. Defensively, they still kind of scare me on that side of the ball. I don't know how much bend and break you're going to get into.
Wrong gaps.
Don't really know how many challenges they're going to have in the Central anyway, besides them and Bryant. Well, of course, you're going to see PA and Little Rock Christian. They like to throw it around a little bit, too. Number 3, these guys have been on me, too, because I keep them low, but they're coming on. They showed me something last week, getting down 16-0 to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. That's our 15th straight win for Fayetteville Purple Dogs. They did it a different way, though. They're actually more of a running team right now than they are anything else. The Odom kid's a great runner. The Battles kid had 150 yards and 3 touchdowns against Broken Arrow. Really came back, got some huge defensive stops. I thought they were really, really impressive in our 3-hole. Number 2, which is, like I said, I pay $1,000 to see Greenwood and Parkview. But number 2 is going to be my Greenwood Bulldogs. Let me tell you, they were lighting up the light show. They got some of that lighting.
I keep warning them down there, man. Somebody's probably going to go blind at some point.
It's awesome. It's awesome. They probably got the best TV announcer, too. Tim Terry is phenomenal.
Down the bleachers, and they go off all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they go off because they score.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The
light bill is outrageous.
There and not be able to see for a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine their superintendent getting their lighting bill. It's phenomenal. 58-0 over Northside this past week. They're averaging 64 points a game. Kane Archer is just taking out anybody in the 7A West. They're just lining them up. He's got Harbor in his. Can you imagine that game? I mean, that's going to be in the 70s too, I guess, or at least Harbor hopes it's in the 70s. But they're really getting better on defense too. Kane Archer's got all kinds of weapons. The Carnes kid who's back from last year, got Champ Davis that moved in there, Cooper Bland. They got all kinds of weapons all over the place. Defensively, like I said, the other Archer boy's phenomenal. I don't know why people don't understand that. I'm going to make some calls for that guy. That guy's. I mean, heck, he's Kane's brother, too. That doesn't hurt you a bit. Number 1 is our Parkview Patriots. Until somebody beats these guys. They had 42-6 in the second half against Maumelle. Maumelle, has a lot of changes, so they thought they were going to make their mark. But Parkview answered all questions. And here's the other thing, and we were talking about Bryant Parkview game. They had 3 field goals. They do have a kicker. Parkview has a kicker.
Yes,
they do.
I mean, he was beating up the indoor.
Yes.
Kicking that thing. Yeah. So I don't know where the Bowden boys found that guy on the soccer field or whatever, but they got a kicker. Mm-hmm. So if it comes down to a kicker, I think they feel pretty good about that guy because he was hitting some bombs on them. Like I said, they had a big win last week. This is going to be a huge game for them. And like I said, the state of Arkansas deserves big games like this. And I think that's huge for both schools to get together and play at War Memorial and see what happens. So our number 1 team in the big school is Parkview Patriots.
Yeah, and there'll be got a chance for some movement this week, and I don't disagree with it.
Tons of movement.
Yeah, well, let's go through our graphics up from last week's picks where everybody was 7-3. Everybody's sitting at a 14-6 overall record. Daryl, you're 13-7, still with that Fayetteville Cabot pick.
What was happening? How about Fayetteville? We didn't talk about Cabot in overtime.
Cabot in overtime.
Yeah. See, Coach Reed's figuring it out.
Yeah, he's figuring out. Well, Well, guys, this is going to be an outstanding week. Keith, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to give you, send you a T-shirt, the Coach's Mouth T-shirt, and also
you can just bring it to me at lunch.
Well done, and we'll guess where we'll go. Our favorite place we always eat lunch. They're going to give us a $100 gift card to All American Steakhouse, and we'll meet you over there and have some lunch, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Well, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Daryl Fimple, and the Mouth Brent Bender, and our special guest picker Keith Fimple, we'll see you next time.